Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm the Tilted Crown Gourmet. I'm super excited to be a part of another collaboration hosted by Tony from Kettle Kitchen, and this time is Noodle November 2024, but this time with a twist. All participants will be utilizing pasta that has a twisty shape. I'll be listing everyone that's participating in this collaboration down in the description of this video. Important to comment on all the videos so that you win prizes, but it's also nice if you like and subscribe. There will be a live giveaway on the Kettle Kitchen YouTube channel on December 3rd at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My contribution to this collaboration will be Fusilli Sorrento with Fresh Pomodoro. So if you're ready, let's roll up those sleeves, let's get some prep done, and let's get cooking. Let's get started with our pasta. I have pre-measured out my flour. And remember, my rule of thumb, it's 100 grams of flour per person. In this particular case, I'm cooking for 3. Therefore, I have utilized 250 grams of 00 flour and 50 grams of semolina flour. Also, per each person, it's 1 egg. Let's crack our eggs. And because I'm not using anything like squidding to add any more liquid, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And during the process, while you're mixing your dough, you may need to add a little bit of water if it still seems a little bit crumbly. Let's go ahead and add that in. After adding your eggs, go ahead and secure your bowl to your stand mixer. Get it and put it on low for 8 minutes. Then we're gonna put it on number 2. We'll put on 1 for 8 minutes, and then we'll put it on 2 for 2 minutes. So a total beating time or mixing time with the dough hook is gonna be 10 minutes total. So 8 minutes on 1 and 2 minutes on 2. Now that beat means that our 8 minutes are up. We're gonna increase to 2 for 2 minutes. And our 2 minutes is up. So we're gonna check our dough here, see how it is. Pull it off of our hook. Gonna get this, and we're gonna slide the mixer out of the way. Take a look at our dough. You can see if you push your finger in it, it pops back, starts to pop back. So we are going to allow this to rest. I get it, and I put it into some cling film, and I let it sit for 30 minutes. However, you can allow this to sit for up to 1 hour. During the time that this is sitting, we're gonna get the rest of our ingredients ready. One of the first things I can do is to get my pasta extruder ready. So on the extruder, I do have the Fusilli attachment, or the die. And we will be installing that onto our KitchenAid by removing our front plug, installing our extruder, and tightening it. And then at this point, we can just get this and set it aside. The next thing, I have some vine ripened tomatoes, and they're all about the same size. They're medium size, and they're washed. So I'm gonna grate them. Now, Why am I using a hand grater? Well, one reason I'm using a hand grater is if you utilize a food processor, which you could, but I believe that the heat of the food processor does alter the flavor of the tomatoes. And it doesn't take much to grate these. Now for this step, could you use canned tomatoes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we have our grated tomatoes ready for our sauce. With our garlic, I've pulled it out of the husk, but I'm just gonna smash it. Smash it and put it into a bowl, set it aside. Because I'm gonna be adding this to my olive oil later to help flavor my sauce. And as I've always said before, if you don't like garlic, use less, don't use it at all. I like garlic, so I tend to put more. A lot of people may use 1 or 2 cloves. I was at the end of a head, so I just used the rest. For garnish, we're gonna be using some fresh basil. So I like to get it and roll it up into that cigar shape and chiffonade, so that way I have nice, beautiful ribbons of fresh basil to add to the top of my pasta. Further, let's go ahead and grate some fresh Parmesan cheese. Have some parm, and you can do large or small. I like to use the small one because it melts easier. Now sometimes people will grate the parm directly into the pasta, which is perfectly fine too. But since I'm waiting for my pasta dough to rest for 30 minutes, I have some spare time because this dish really is pretty quick to assemble. And voila, all that nice freshly grated Parmesan. It's gonna be so fantastic in our pasta. And at the sound of the bell, our 30 minutes has elapsed. So I am going to unwrap our dough, and I'm just gonna push it to the back real quick. And I'm going to get a little bit of flour and put a little bit of flour on my counter. And this, I'm actually going to get it and just cut it into 2s. And then with this one, I'm just going to flour it a little bit, and I'm going to put it back into the plastic wrap. And with this piece, I'm going to flour it a little bit more flour, because this is going to be going into my extruder, and the flour is just going to help it to keep from sticking. And everyone does their extrusion different. I have found that if I get my pasta dough and I put it into, make it into a log, I like to get it and make it into a log, and then that way it kind of self-feeds in the extruder. Now my extruder, I set my KitchenAid up on a box. The reason I did that is the distance between the end of the extruder and the countertop is approximately 12 inches, which is the standard size of a standard pasta. Now, oftentimes with the Fusilli, you'll see it, they're little short pieces, but the traditional Italian version is actually 12-inch long pieces. I do give my pasta a bit of a twist, and it's important that you do not stretch the pasta. I'm not stretching it, I'm simply twisting. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my second piece of dough, unwrap it, put it in some of my flour, and feed it into my extruder. Now again, this dish can totally be made with dried pasta. I just like to go ahead and make my pasta fresh. Remember, when you're cooking fresh pasta, it only takes about 2 to 3 minutes once you put it into the boiling water. Before I get my sauce started, I want to go ahead and get my water boiling for my pasta. Just go ahead and salt it. Now that our water is boiling, I'm going to go ahead and put in our olive oil. I want to go ahead and allow that to come to a shimmer. I'm going to turn down the heat on my boiling water because it's at a boil, but I don't need it to be at a rolling boil before I put my pasta in. To my olive oil, add in your crushed garlic. And this next part is completely up to you. I like to add a little bit of red pepper flakes, but it's definitely optional. And remember what I always say, you only want to cook your garlic until you can smell it, and you don't want to burn your red pepper flakes either. Now some people at this step will remove the garlic after it's flavored the oil. I don't. I actually leave it in there. And let's go ahead and add in our tomatoes and all the juices. Next, I think it's important to season, so let's put some salt in there. Next, I put in my basil. Now this basil is just the full leaves. You can tear it if you want to, or you could cut it. However, I just put the whole leaves in there. Next, again, another optional step. If you want to add some ricotta, you can add some ricotta cheese into your dish. What this does, it just really helps to create a really creamy sauce. But again, completely optional step. Now I let this cook down for about 5 minutes. Now let's go ahead and drop our pasta in. After about 3 minutes in our boiling water, we're going to move our pasta over to our sauce. I'm not draining it, I'm just putting it right in because we actually want a little bit of that pasta water to help thicken our sauce. I did taste a piece of this just to make sure that it was nice and al dente, and it was. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in our Parmesan cheese and give everything a nice stir. And at this point you can turn your fire off from underneath your sauce because your sauce is done. And last but not least, want to add our basil to the top of each bowl and additional freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Now it's time to give it a wonderful try. Well, give it a try. We'll see if it's wonderful. That is absolutely fantastic. It's light and refreshing, and the basil just really has that nice freshness to it, and I really believe grating the fresh tomatoes really helped with this dish.
Remember, your kitchen is your passport to the world, allowing you to explore diverse cultures and cuisines right from home as you explore new flavors and techniques. And as always, bon appetit.